Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, the internet. Rockwell's Pocket Show with the Avengers portion of the weekly comic book roundup. That's well put. So, there weren't that many Avengers books this week. We'll start off, since they both came out this week, we'll just go ahead and start off with Avengers No Road Home number 8. So, where we left off, Nyx had caught up with Scarlet Witch in the Hyborian Age and reabsorbed the portion of her power that Scarlet Witch had escaped with. However, Nyx left her daughter Oasis, the goddess of misery, to deal with Conan the Avengers, while she went off to deal with, presumably, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Rocket. So, we got two different bits of narration going on. The Shadowzar portions are narrated largely by Hercules, and the Euphoria portions are largely narrated by Hulk. Also, Oasis was basically making it something of a specter of Conan's old lover Bêlit, and she was attacking Conan and had actually stabbed him. So. Anyway, the Avengers in Hyborian Age, the city of Shadowzar, see this going on. Meanwhile, on Euphoria, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Rocket are face to face with Nyx herself. Looks like Vision blasts the specter of Oasis off of Conan. And he begins to fight back, while the specter of Bêlit goes after Hercules now. Hulk tells Hawkeye and Rocket to get out of there on account of the fact that he doesn't want the raccoon skinned, and Barton's useless. So Hawkeye tells Rocket to shut up and help him make a bow, because he's never run from a fight in his life, and he can give Rocket the names and numbers of 24 doctors and surgeons who will back that up. Excuse me. And he makes the point that Nyx has snuffed out every sun in the universe. At best, there are entire planets that think their gods have abandoned them. At worst, it's just a matter of time before everything we've ever known freezes to death. And so, once Hawkeye's makeshift bow is put together, it's a couple of arrows on he makes a couple of arrows with Rocket's help, and Hulk realizes, hey, maybe Barton's not so puny after all. Back in Shadowzar, Oasis explodes, hitting everybody with bits of herself, which caused everyone to see other things. Scarlet Witch sees her lover, Dr. Voodoo. I think maybe he's decomposing. or he's turned into a zombie. I'm not entirely certain. Spectrum sees a planet explode, presumably Earth. And asking herself, what's left after 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years? What's left of everything she knew? What's left of her? Vision sees the grave of his daughter. Back on Euphoria, Hawkeye fires the 2 arrows at Nyx. While firing them, he actually asks the question of Rocket what's in them. Rocket explains that one's carrying an antimatter charge capable of blowing a hole in a Kree star cruiser. Theirs just real sharp. Nyx, of course, asks, what either was supposed to do to her. And Hulk explains that they were supposed to get her attention. And he then throws her a ways away. And with the arrows utilized, Hawkeye then starts looking for the violet pin particles that he had. One final dose of size changing. Rocket asks if maybe they could shrink Nyx, though Hawkeye says, the first answer is no, and the second is that he doubts it. But Nyx comes back not happy. Then back on Chatazar, Hercules deals with the despair of his family's death, and it's wondering what good has been fighting all this time. What good is he? He's Hercules the joke, always the fool, smiling like an idiot. Then he hears Voyager crying, and he asks to help. He realizes he still has something to do, a labor to complete. On Euphoria, Hulk explains that he said he had a plan. His plan being to hit Nyx hard as he can. However, she hits him with she knows his weakness. And shines the sunlight upon him, turning him back into Bruce Banner. Which makes it a lot easier for her to take the portion of her power that he had. Oisis, who's now, what's left of Oisis, is now rather small and almost, I don't want to necessarily say like a large bug or like a large arachnid of some type. And Hercules squashes it. Conan volunteers to go with the Avengers to take out Nyx. And Voyager can figure out where Oisis is, and so, but once again, Oisis sees a house. And the Avengers come through, make their way to Nyx, and then Nyx turns off all the stars. Everything is pitch black now. That's where the issue ends. Alrighty, next up we've got Captain America #9, which is actually came out a week late, as it was supposed to come out last week, but these things happen. So, where we left off, Cap was in jail. Sharon Carter and a handful of female heroes have banded together to see what they can do to get him out. And Kingpin had revealed to Sharon that it was not Steve Rogers that killed General Ross, but rather the Foreigner. Also, Alexander Lucan had kidnapped or had broken the Supreme Commander Steve out of prison, the little prison he was in, and seemingly just offered him up to Celine. So we can open up at Fact Channel News, and Alexander Lucan's trying to convince. I don't necessarily want to say the CEO, but someone who is at least in a position of authority, that it really was Steve Rogers who was the Supreme Commander during the whole Secret Empire thing. Meanwhile, the Daughters of Liberty meet up, and still trying to figure out who the hell Dryad is. Aside from the obvious of it being Black Widow. Turns out that anyways, they managed to get their hands on the schematics for the Myrmidon. However, getting in is going to be that will be the easy part. Getting in and getting Steve Rogers out, that's going to be the hard part. Power dampers throughout, cameras in every corner. A full frontal assault would fail because they'd see them coming. The damage would apply to them as much as the inmates. Sue Richards suggests maybe turning one of the inmates to help them. Mockingbird suggests maybe knocking out hitting the place with causing a brownout to, basically a brownout to, briefly take out the power. And then Misty Knight explains who the Foreigner is to Dryad. Explaining that he runs an outfit called the 1400 Club. Killers for hire and some gun running. Meanwhile, in the Myrmidon, looks like the wrecking crew is they're convinced that Steve is the Supreme Commander, which, I mean, he kind of was. It kind of was him, but at the same time, it wasn't, because Anyways, Thunderball starts to fight with some of the guards, but they knock him. They manage to take him down easily. Then Steve gets involved, and it becomes a prison riot. And Red Hook, we see the Foreigner and his people loading up guns to be run. Then the whole place blows up, and Dryad smacks Foreigner around a bit. Oh, okay, it's not a Foreigner, but one of the people from the 1400 Club. She smacks him around a bit and then said, has him deliver a message. Tell the foreigner that the Dryad knows what he did and knows how he did it. And while the foreigner might be beyond the law, the foreigner is not beyond her. And then by the time the Dryad is done with her, the foreigner will be begging for the law. Back in the Myrmidon, Cap has been put in solitary confinement. I mean, there's a rat in there with him, but... And the warden, Baron Wolfgang von Strucker, comes to see him. And explaining the whole concept behind the prison. And basically explains how he's the Myrmidon was his design, and that he long ago perfected the torture of the body, but the body is vulgar and gauche. The mind is mystical, vast, and what he could do to the minds of men, that the isolation, so the solitary room is, one would think would be would grant some peace and record of the facility, but in fact, it only makes it worse. Of course, that doesn't seem to affect the super soldier, as he's endured much worse than just this. And Strucker goes on to explain he gave up on trying to break Captain America long ago. And then, but then he says, "But what of those who love you? Those who have so long believed in you? What would it mean for them to learn that you were not the savior, but the world breaker?" And a screen pops up, or a screen turns on with a subtitle explaining that a special Senate committee is to investigate the ties between Captain America and the Supreme Commander. Strucker, brings up the murder of Rick Jones that was committed during Secret Empire, and now the more recent murder of Thaddeus Ross, as well as countless others. And as Strucker leaves, he says that he could never break Captain America. Not his body, not his mind. But those who believe in him, those who trusted him, those soft Americans, well, they are another matter altogether. And at the end we see, I think it's Sharon seeing a video of Cap fighting alongside the wrecking crew and the various other people imprisoned in the Myrmidon. And that is it for the this week's new Avengers titles. I will go ahead and say this now. Over the next 3 months, most of the Avengers titles will actually end up being tie-ins with War of the Realms. So yeah, there may be weeks during the next few months where there are no Avengers titles. Though it's at least for at least 2 more weeks where there will definitely be Avengers titles. We've got 2 more issues of No Road Home. But yeah, like I said, the next few weeks the next few months we'll be seeing some light videos for the Avengers side of things. But after that, it'll probably be back along the same lines as the X-Men books, to be perfectly honest. Anywho, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I put new content. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon are in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off for the moment. Saying live long and rock hard.